Sorry about this. I'm not sure what's happening also. I'm gonna forward it.
Do you want to skip to the like field trip and gifts and stuff?
Yeah,
while
let's
we're
do
there?
it.
Is that motion to amend the agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Field trip request.
Okay, so the first field trip is Classical High to Italy on April 17th, during the vacation week from April 17th to the 24th. It looks like we have somebody here to speak on that.
Oh, great.
Hello, I'm Chris Ayers. Thank you very much for having me. I'm a Latin teacher at Classical High, and I'm leading a Italy trip for students over spring break. And this is the first time we've gone, to my knowledge, the first time any Latin teacher from Classical has taken an Italy trip in quite some time. And I'm just looking for your approval. It's a wonderful trip. It runs the week of spring break. We're going to Rome, of course, and see all the monuments, Vatican City. Then we're heading down to Pompeii, Herculaneum, and then coming back to Rome for a few other things, and then coming home. The trip also includes a gladiator school, where we go to a gladiator camp, and some reenactors dress us up as gladiators and show us how it was done in ancient times. And we're also going to an authentic pizza cooking class, and we all make our own pizzas for dinner. It should be wonderful, and I'm so glad to have this opportunity to give to our students.
Sounds like a great experience.
Yeah, amazing. That's the recommendation of this.
I absolutely recommend.
Thank you.
And I'd like a lesson on gladiating when
Yes.
you get back.
The last time I went with another school, I was tapped to be in the arena at the end, which was kind of a little embarrassing. But I'm older now and more experienced, so it should be fun.
Wily veteran gladiator. All right. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the field trip to Italy and Rome for the Classical High students. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I look forward to learning more. The next recommendation for field trip is the D.W. Kim's U.S. Taekwondo Center Scholarship Program for 3 students for each school for approval. Before I put this forward to you, you have some of this information in your packet. I just want to say this was a successful program in the summer of 2025 when they were able to sponsor a student. And so now what they are offering to us, and we're very grateful, is a full student leadership scholarship that will be for all year. So there are 3 times that the 8-week program will happen, and 3 students from the schools will be awarded this scholarship. So it's quite a generous donation, and we're really excited about it.
Great. Any questions? It's the will of the committee.
Make a motion to approve the D.W. Kim U.S. Taekwondo Center Scholarship Program for 3 students from each school for approval.
I second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, so now, thank you, Mayor. That was very nicely done in terms of time efficiency. We are going to move over to the Mass Core Determination Project Report. And I invite Donna Doucette, Lead Guidance Counselor for the district, and Dr. Shannon Gardner to present.
I'm Dr. Shannon Gardner, and this is Donna Doucette. Donna Doucette is going to be leading this presentation, and I'm just here in the supporting role.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you for seeing the faces that I've seen before, and welcome new members. This will be my first time talking to you, so I hope I make a good impression. A little background on me. I am a Lynner. I grew up here. I attended our schools. I'm a graduate of Lynn Classical High School, although since then, you East Lynn people have, I've warmed up to you, so we can all be friends. We can still be friends. And a fun fact is I am one of the youngest people on earth to have attended Breed Elementary School, which was on Hood Street. I was in first grade when the building closed. So I wear that badge proudly. But thank you for coming tonight. I give you that background because I want you to understand how much my role means to me and what I do. And I've actually worked in the Lynn School since 1998. When I finished college, I came back and I wanted to work here and I wanted to make a difference. And being able to lead this project is a great example of one of those ways that I feel that I'm going to be able to help all the kids. And it wasn't just me. It was an endeavor. We had a committee. We did a lot of work, and I'm excited to be able to present these results to you tonight. So, first slide. I'm presenting the MassCore Determination Project. This work reflects months of collaboration across schools, departments, and leadership teams, and I'm excited to share the outcomes and next steps with you. What is the MassCore framework? To begin, let's ground ourselves in what MassCore is. MassCore is Massachusetts' recommended set of high school courses for our students. It outlines the classes students should take in grades 9 through 12 to be prepared for college, career, and life after high school. While it is significant to note that not all of these elements are required to earn a diploma, MassCore serves other significant functions. It helps set clear expectations for learning, keeps students on track for graduation, aligns with both college and workforce readiness, and most importantly, it supports equity by ensuring that all students have access to rigorous coursework. This slide, provided by DESE itself, illustrates the comprehensive structure of MassCore with its interconnected components that support student readiness. It serves as a visual reminder that MassCore is far more than just a checklist. It is a comprehensive framework designed to promote a well-rounded academic experience for our students. MassCore supports college readiness. One of the strongest arguments for MassCore is its impact on post-secondary outcomes. MassCore is designed to deliver a strong academic transcript for college admissions. Studies show that students who complete a rigorous program like MassCore are far more likely to avoid academic remediation, enroll in college, and ultimately earn a degree. This is why identifying every Lynn Public Schools course that fulfills MassCore requirements is so important. Before sharing our project work, it's important to understand how DESE calculates MassCore completion. This is a simple yes or no determination for each graduate. There is no partial credit for achieving even 98% of these elements. If a graduating senior meets every required unit, they are counted as a completer. If even one unit is missing, they are categorized as not completing MassCore. In Lynn Public Schools, most graduates who don't complete MassCore complete all but one or two of these components. Yet under the state's calculation methods, these students and our district receive no credit for the near total completion. This reality drives much of the work we undertook in this project. The main goal of this project was to increase the number of graduates who receive credit for completing MassCore. To get there, our committee focused on key objectives. 1, clarifying course eligibility criteria across the MassCore framework subject areas. 2, a comprehensive survey of all existing courses in the LPS program of studies to determine which do and which do not meet these eligibility requirements. And 3, ensuring alignment with graduation and competency determination requirements to support consistent academic planning. This work included a detailed analysis of what constitutes a unit of MassCore, as well as a full review of courses across all academic domains. Our determinations will directly support the SY 2027 Program of Studies update. To carry out this project, we held collaborative meetings with school counselors and curriculum leaders. Counselors reviewed the course content to help standardize eligibility across schools, while academic directors provided subject matter expertise to ensure accurate determinations. Our aim was consensus building, aligning our interpretations of MassCore unit across the district so students receive consistent messaging and access to opportunities. Our final product was recently completed and shared with the project team members and district leaders. We have made formal recommendations to the superintendent's office, which will be shared with this group. The complete list of approved MassCore eligible courses will be compiled and shared with the curriculum and data departments so eligibility can be reflected in the program of studies and reported accurately moving forward. A few important considerations to note regarding Mass Core. For example, some middle school courses, such as Algebra 1, can count towards Mass Core completion if they are documented in the program of studies. Although we identified that arts and physical education remain our largest barriers toward achieving Mass Core for all students, it is important to note that our vocational, career, and technical education students, including our After Dark participants, are exempt from the Mass Core requirements for art and world language. I will now highlight the Mass Core eligibility determinations by each academic area. Arts and music. In arts and music, we determined that a wide range of creative courses qualify, from jewelry making and 3D art to theater, music, and dance. I'm delighted to share that we found 45 eligible courses, including 8 early college courses. We also identified that certain middle school band and string classes also meet Mass Core standards. Please keep in mind that while these determinations will have some impact, they will not immediately drastically change our completion rates. For this reason, further exploration of course offerings, learning spaces, and staffing is recommended. For English language arts, 13 courses were found to meet Mass Core, including 4 early college courses. These determinations help broaden options for students while ensuring alignment with ELA curriculum standards. History and social studies. 24 history and social studies courses currently meet Mass Core requirements. We also confirmed that 14 early college courses qualify in this area, thus giving students a wide range of options for meeting this requirement. Mathematics. In mathematics, we confirmed that Algebra 1 taken in middle school has the same rigor and can count towards Mass Core for high school, as long as the student is not repeating the course again in 9th grade. So they have to perform well in it in order to receive the credit for Mass Core in middle school. Furthermore, we identified 17 high school math courses that meet Mass Core requirements. Physical education. For physical education, several options fulfill the requirement beyond traditional PE classes, including high school team sports, ROTC, dance, beginner band, and marching band. Because these determinations do not significantly shift the outcomes in meeting this element, we recommend forming a committee to further expand internal and external options for physical education credit, such as external athletics or community-based activities to increase student access. Science. In science, 15 courses were identified as eligible for Mass Core credit. This ensures a robust set of options for students pursuing laboratory and advanced sciences. Technology. While there is no standalone technology requirement in Mass Core, certain technology courses, such as AP Computer Science Principles, contain intrinsic content so strong that these also can provide a student Mass Core credit as a year of either math or science. And although we do not recommend using this option widespread, we want to provide this option for students who are ardently pursuing a technology pathway aligned with their post-secondary goals. World language. In world language, 19 high school courses and 4 early college courses are eligible for Mass Core. Additionally, middle school students who complete both levels 1A and 1B of the same language can receive a credit for 1 unit of Mass Core. However, because meeting the 2-year world language element remains a challenge for many students, especially those who are already learning English as their second language or are struggling with learning disabilities, we recommend forming a committee to explore expanded options such as alternative programming or the seal of biliteracy to support satisfaction of this Mass Core element. Looking ahead, smaller working groups will continue their efforts in art and music, world language, and physical education. Their charge will be to identify and unlock additional opportunities that can further increase Mass Core completion for our students. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Always is a pleasure seeing you and your inspiration. And I love how you set the tone with your roots, because I think it's very important and it's very intentional. I have a question around when you're recommending committees like in physical education and those highlights. Can you elaborate more on what committee process you're talking about or referring to? Or is it internal, external? Are you talking about the school committee, the subcommittee? Like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So this is one where we said we need to do some more in-depth work. We need to expand our options. So there is some flexibility, like in physical education, but we need to have a smaller number of people. We don't necessarily need the whole array of guidance counselors and curriculum specialists, but we do need to bring together a small pool of people to work on more options so that we could complete that element for Mass Core.
Well, in mind, for me, when I heard this, I thought about the athletics subcommittee. So I kind of, when I heard, physical ed highlights, I said, I looked at Chairman Smith. I said, wow, that's something that the subcommittee could work on. And obviously there's curriculum, and it'd be nice to have some of the members be involved in some of this work so we can, follow it along. And yeah, I remember this coming to vision, and now to see it now, it's nice to see the report. But it would be pretty good to have members part of that process. That would be one recommendation from me, if that's possible.
I just wanted to add something to what they're saying. So the part about athletics, counting in place of it, it has to be a school committee policy in order for that to count. So that would be something that would have to go to athletics if it was going to become one of the pieces to it. So that would be something we'd definitely be bringing to you after we've narrowed down some ideas that we thought would really work.
Sounds good, Lori.
Okay.
Member Satterwhite?
Thank you for your presentation. That was great. Can you tell me what the district's current Mass Core completion rate is and how it compares to state averages and comparable districts?
I'm sorry, I should have come with the percentage. I can run and get that for you on the DESE profiles. But the reason that we formed this committee is that we are not doing well with this percentage, and it's mainly because of our situation with our number of students in our high schools. And so there are a couple areas that we have that we are not hitting, and once you miss one, like Donna explained, we miss it all. So I would say it's under 50% completion. It's not a measure of accountability, and curriculum choices and courses are still under local control. But this is the best recommendation from DESE that we should be providing. So this is why we're working toward it.
Thank you. Another question I had is how will we evaluate whether increasing Mass Core completion leads to improved college enrollment, persistence, and workforce outcomes?
I think that we would look at, one thing that just popped into my mind is that we would definitely look at the world language requirement, because that is one that is really clearly forecasted by college to be something that you need 2 years of world language. So that, I think, alone could have a pretty significant impact. Some of the other ones that are electives, they may not have as much of an impact unless it is in the student's career field, then it would. So we'd have to look at all those things. I think that we do really well with making sure our students get all their core academic courses, and we've prioritized those over the electives, but electives are still really important.
Dr. Schroeder, I'll just jump in. So it's 15.8%. It's on the Mass profile, the DESE profile.
I appreciate that.
But remember that 15.8% is because if you don't have one course, like if you don't have phys ed, then you don't get Mass Core at all. So it doesn't mean that rating is an all or nothing rating. I will say that the Commissioner Pedro Martinez, who came into Massachusetts from out of state, has elevated Mass Core as one of the predictors and part of the graduation, this new envisioning of the graduation requirements in place of the MCAS. And so it is, the well-roundedness of the academic coursework that the state believes, and we believe, is preparing students for the college level coursework.
Thank you. And then I just have a couple specifics that I was wondering. Can you clarify for me? So if a student, in the mathematic highlights, so if a student who takes Algebra 1 in middle school but then struggles in geometry in grade 9, how does that affect their like long-term trajectory towards math core completion?
Well, geometry in itself is a standalone course. It doesn't factor in with the algebra. So if the student excelled in algebra and then didn't perform well in geometry, that doesn't necessarily relate how they will perform in Algebra 2, because algebra and geometry are such distinct, different fields of mathematics. So what we would do is try and support the student in the geometry, and so that they can be successful through either after school with their teacher. Every teacher has a night back, at least one night a week. Many teachers do multiple nights a week. And then we have other supports in place to try and help that student be successful. And then hopefully that student, when they got to the Algebra 2, because maybe that was the thing they were stronger in, would again be successful. But we also have a lot of things in place, and like policies where we review student progress. You know, we review them at the progress reports, right? We review them at the report cards. And they do meet with their counselors when they're having issues to address those concerns.
And since the DESE uses like the yes or no determination, how does the district consider, like, or have they considered tracking like partial completions like internally, so that we can be better informed for interventions?
I don't know that we track them with a number, but I can tell you anecdotally, as a counselor who's gone through my own caseload and seen where the deficits are, we know primarily. The primary issues are access to gym and art across the city. That's the primary area. And then the other one would be the world language for the students who are not at Lynn Tech. But that's the amazing thing about this, is we have a number of courses that we should have been counting towards that the whole time, that we just weren't. So going through this, and we sat down with the curriculum directors for the arts and for music, and now we have a far more comprehensive view of what consists of Mass Core and how our students can meet it, and how we will direct our students. We're about to do scheduling now, and now we're all going in there informed on this, so that when we meet with our students, we'll be better able to reach those goals.
Awesome.
May I just say one thing, because this is what's really hard about understanding Mass Core. So it's also a matter of conflict in the schedule. So when we have really high performing students who are in advanced placement courses across their schedule, meeting Mass Core requires taking an AP course out to put in a PE course. That, just to give you some perspective. So it's not just about the idea is the breadth of courses that students are taking, but then there are some students who are really specialized, like we're talking a little bit about computer science courses. There are some students that are really specialized in the coursework that they're taking because they're really geared towards a particular pathway in college, and that also is a consideration when we're scheduling, because there are only so many blocks in the day. So there's that component too.
So Mass Core, the way I'm thinking about it right now, is a lot of these courses that you're mentioning would be what students would take as electives to get the amount of credits they would need to graduate. Isn't it similar?
Some of them are electives, but a lot of them are their core academic courses. In, I believe, the second or the third slide, it demonstrates how Mass Core breaks down. The arts and the physical educations, those are primarily electives, unless you have a student who's taking AP art or something of that nature.
So could a person that was on the band or in the band who marches every game, would they be able to get core credit for phys ed?
That was part of the recommendation of the committee.
Art?
That was part of the recommendation of the committee, yes.
Okay, well, that makes that'll make it easier.
We have so many students who do so many things outside of school. We have students who dance or teach dance. I had a couple of students who used to be like professional wall climbers, so I had a student he was in a million APs, like you were just discussing, and he was like, "Are you kidding me? I have to give up an AP to take gym. I climb walls 3 nights a week. I used to call him Spider-Man. He's amazing. And he's doing fantastic in college. But there are so many particular situations like that where you have those highly motivated, highly specified students who have a difficult time fitting all these things in. So that's why we want to take a look and try and be as inclusive as possible in our evaluation and how we program these students.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I just, thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation, and just if I could add, on the committee work, particularly around physical education, that makes sense to include the extracurricular activities, and we also have a lot of kids students that work, and some of them work physical jobs, and some of them that would include, occupational safety, and that should count. If the committee needs help sort of looking at that or making that case, please let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next is the rollout of the grade planner to students and families.
Yeah, give them a call.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Cronin. I am the Director of Computer Implementation for the Data Center at Lynn Public Schools. I appreciate you giving me the time this evening. I'm going to make a slight typographical change in the agenda, and I hope I don't disappoint anybody. It's a graduation planner feature that we'll be presenting tonight. So I did actually disappoint an educator back there that we're not rolling out a new grade book or anything like that this evening, especially mid-year. That would be, we'd be fielding phone calls.
Yeah.
You think of Hugh?
But tonight, I am hoping to walk you through our graduation planner that we are in the process of implementing within the district, and being able to align that to, I don't think I'm hooked, oh, there we go. And be able to hook up that work to the recent policy changes with graduation requirements that have gone through. So we were driven by a guiding question to, given the evolving graduation requirements that we have not only for this year's graduating class, but for future graduating classes, what systems could we put in place within the district to support the staff, the students, and the families to understand their progress towards these requirements outside of just the policy changes itself. The implementation of the tool that we're about to look at is going to be an important step in making sure that not only do we have a documented graduation policy, but that policy itself is lived and breathed within the district, within the processes and the tools and the steps that we take as these students make their way to graduation. So, what is the graduation planner? It's a tool within PowerSchool which allows us over the course of a student's high school career to track their academic outcomes specifically with their coursework and credit. It gives us a way to build a system around the policy that's been approved, so it's not just words on a paper, but something that students, families, counselors, administrators can all look at a student's academic progress towards graduation over time and in real time. It will track the courses and credits across their career. It will align the credits that they earned alongside the graduation requirements, and we'll be able to display that within real time within our PowerSchool Student Information System database. So we have the graduation requirements and policy that was approved this past fall. And what we need to do is, or our process was taking this policy and taking all the requirements outlined in here and building that into our system within PowerSchool. What this will allow us to do is be consistent in terms of how we track and how we apply these requirements across the high schools, so it's not left to an individual staff member on their own to navigate this, nor necessarily a family or administrator or individual to interpret the policy. And we took the requirements for English language arts, math, science, social studies, world languages, physical education, and arts, and mapped them to the LPS courses that met those requirements. And what that evolved into in PowerSchool is what we hope is going to be easy to view report that administrators can pull up. What you view on the screen here is what a school administrator staff member would look at when they log in, as well as what a parent or student might see, something similar when they log into the PowerSchool portal. Each policy requirement is mapped to their courses and credits that they've earned within the report, and hopefully give them a quick snapshot of a way to monitor their progress towards graduation. And to dive into this report in a little more detail, it's a little more interactive than just these green bars that you see over here. The green bars themselves, the dark green means that a student has earned credits towards this requirement. The lighter green means that they are enrolled in a course that will earn those credits if they complete the course successfully. And they can also drill into individual subject areas and see the courses, the individual courses that the student has been awarded credit for in there to see their progress in the course. So if a student's progressing as expected, we would expect to see that these green bars fill up over time, and that any gaps in these bars would indicate a place where, in terms of either scheduling, class selection, meeting, intervention, that either the school or the family could reach out and make some changes in terms of what might be needed next to support that student in their next steps. So in this example here, you can see the person clicking through and being open a side window up here where you can get a deeper view into, beyond just the bars themselves, what the individual credits that the student has earned. Now, we do have situations as well, too, where we may have those gaps, and like Ms. Doucette and Ms. Gardner were alluding to, sometimes world language is a challenge for our students to get into their schedules, as well as some other requirements. So a white bar here would indicate that we would need to take some steps for the student in order to close that gap as they approach graduation, and whether or not they may need individual support. Additionally, we have a lot of students who are highly mobile within the district. So we may have a student who arrives from outside of Lynn, outside of Massachusetts, or outside of the United States, who have transfer credits, which we want to include as part of their graduation journey. So a counselor could, in this instance, click on a student, click on their credits, and realize that they have credits, might not be aligned to a specific LPS course, but we could also go in and add a particular course. So in this example, the student has earned a world language credit from the Dominican Republic. The guidance and school counselors could enter this in and align that to our world language requirements. So not only students who have been with us since 9th grade, but for transfer from outside the district can earn these credits as well. So for us, we have some next steps with this. We have, to this point, we've had several meetings with school counselors, and I want to thank Donna Doucette and Superintendent Cohen for helping facilitate those meetings, because they are important stakeholders in this process. They are one of our primary points of contact with the students as they make their way through their high school career, and work with them as they move towards graduation. So we've met with them to align the credits, to align the courses to these requirements, had them work with the tool within the system currently, so they can be able to take a look for themselves how their own students in their own caseload would perform, taking a look at this planner, and be able to give feedback to us. They've also done enormous work, too, of updating over almost 3,000 credits within the system that weren't aligned. That includes transfer credits, credits that might have been entered in improperly. So prior to rolling this out completely, we have to review all of the students' prior work. In this case, all the 12th graders who will be moving towards graduation this year, reviewing all of that. And it was no small effort on their part, and they were great partners with us on that. So I appreciate their help with that. Also meeting with school and district leadership, I was able to speak to high school principals and 12th graders this morning to share this with them as well, make sure they have the resources that they need, ask questions, have access to the platform, because alongside their school counselors, being leaders of the buildings themselves, being able to know and be aware of this tool when they're working and engaging with their families. And as always, with any technology piece that we roll out, we want to make sure it's well supported. So sharing those resources with the school initially as well. But when we come to roll out the graduation planner at the end of this month, which is slated for February 26th, we will be having those resources at our hand too. So as students, parents, other staff members have questions come up, we have those supports available. And we're scheduling communication to go out as well at the end of the month to families, to students in the class of 2026, so they know, they're aware of the portal, have access to it, and can engage with the school if they have questions and navigate the tool itself. And hopefully this will be an ongoing process that we'll be able to use for future graduating classes. The graduation policy will evolve as world histories and U.S. history and the arts become requirements that we are tracking specifically in future graduating classes. So instead of having to leave that policy navigation to the individuals, we can build that into the system and be a lot more clear with the expectations that have been set out in the policy. So I appreciate your time and allowing me to introduce this tool, Ben. I'd be happy to take questions that you may have at this moment.
Start with Member Pena and work our way this way.
Thank you for the presentation. I love this, sir, where families and students can see their progress and see where they're at. It's a great tool. I had a question now. If we run into a situation, let's say a student has an IEP and we can see where they're, is that going to be immediate intervention where we can start adjusting and maybe getting the needs that student would need or to advance in whatever courses? Would that give that time or?
Yes, alongside whatever that was outlined in their IEP, their educational plan, and the supports that they get with that, working with the school, working with school counselors to close any gaps that they may have towards graduation. That's part of this work. That's part of why we're partnering with the schools first, because they are going to be the first point of contact with the students to support them with that.
Yeah, and the parent engagement in that, are we trying to inform parents, especially ELs, different languages, and there's a lot of different languages. We're trying to inform and get them involved in different languages with this.
Yeah, so for our support documents and the communication, we'll be sending those for translation prior to the 26th, so we can communicate out, especially in our top 5 languages, but embedded within some of our other communication tools with the home language of the families as well.
Yeah, I like the fact too that you can also get credits from transfer students, which is very key. You have a lot of kids that are highly educated but don't have lack the language but they did study some things. It's great that they can get some of that credit. And
there's an equity piece to that as well, making sure that they have the same access and experience that a student who's been with us for years does. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Member Ortiz-McGrath.
Thank you for the presentation. It's really exciting to see this platform. So I wanted to piggyback off of what Member Pena had mentioned in regards to, I know you talked about the translation of the materials that are going to families, but does the platform itself translate, or is it just slowly in English?
Initially it's in English, but it also has localization options within Power Schools, so those language options would be part of the translation. So short answer is higher level pieces of that interface will translate. There may be some things in terms of course names and things that are more granular will not. There will be just the proper name, that noun that they've been given in the course of studies.
Okay, great. And then in terms of the communication plan for families, how are we going to engage our families? Are they going to have the ability to attend a training, for example, to see the usage of the platform so that they can better understand how to download it, how to access it, how to, be able to enter the platform, as I know technology can be complicated.
It can be, and with each new thing you deal with that. So there can be multiple ways to do that. We're currently, we've probably had 3 district meetings around not only this specific platform, graduation requirements, and mass core as well. The communication piece has been central to that, and being able to find out multiple ways that we can support families with that. We have the paper documentation right now, then being able to do support session recordings and things of that nature to accompany that. Those aren't created yet, but they will be when the portal opens.
Okay, great. And then my last question is, I know you're going to be rolling this out on February 26th. The plan is to roll it out with schools in preparation for this graduation year?
Yes.
With the hope that we could get ahead of some of those students that may not be meeting the core requirements?
Right. In the ideal world, we would have done this back when these students were freshmen. The graduation plan has changed and will be evolving. So now the plan is, the saying is, the best day to plant a tree is 20 years ago, so you can sit underneath it, and the next best day is today. And so we had that option as we realized how challenging it was to navigate that, even as educators who are well versed in it, knowing that we had to put a tool in place to support everyone else with access and understanding of that. It became essential to know that we needed to roll that out now, even though it's not the ideal time, given following up when the changes to the policy were made. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
It's an exciting tool. So
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Member Castellanos?
Yep. Thank you so much for your presentation and providing that robust explanation. I appreciated how you rolled out the presentation with the tool, and I was using the lens of staff, student, and families. I'll be remiss to mention I want to focus on the family piece, because in this district we have a lot of grandparents, folks that are not tech savvy, digital savvy, and it really concerned me as you were going through that. Like, I was even having, I'm pretty tech savvy, but I had to really follow along, and I'm trying to figure out how are you going to actually. I understand you can, as Member Pena mentioned, there's an orientation for families, but specifically for folks that are not tech savvy and that might not have access to technology, how do we make sure that they don't fall behind? Because this is such an important, critical tool.
So even though as we're well into the 21st century, we still have paper options available to us. One of the scenarios we were working with the school counselors, and they highlighted a similar issue of being able to, when they engage with students and engage with families, have something which they can deliver. So we're able to generate this report from within Power School, get paper copies, PDFs, and so you're not necessarily sent. I think we've all been in that scenario where we've forgotten to log into a portal for our, maybe our family members or our own children. I've been guilty of that myself. Not being able to navigate the technology, but to be able to walk away with a paper copy that clearly illustrates where your child may be in any given moment, so you can walk away with a physical copy as opposed to needing to have an electronic version which is updated, within the platform. We can do that as well. They can generate that for the student. The school counselors can generate that from the students on their caseload very easily, and hand them out not only at their meetings, but we can be able to distribute that out via email as well as another way to access. But them being familiar with the platform initially, and then being able to engage in other ways after the fact. Like you said, they may not have access to the portal. They may not have access to, all the login at that particular time. So we want to remove those barriers as much as possible, and then being able to sort of triage any issues that might come up from that.
You said email.
Email.
Yeah, it goes back. It kind of it feeds into the issue. So when you say weekly reports or ask whenever they want it, what is a recommendation for those folks? Because if I'm a grandparent, I want to know my kids what they do every day. Yeah. If I'm very concerned, if I'm really, I know families that are really in it, so. What's going to be the strategy? I guess I don't know. I'm actually for a counselor. I might be a.
Well, and I think you can lean into some of your school counselor expertise.
You want to elaborate? No, this is a real issue.
It is a real issue. So first and foremost, I just want to elevate that this tool is also to empower our students to be advocates for themselves and to be fully engaged in their graduation planning. So that too is a component of this tool. In regard to the family engagement piece, which I'm so thrilled that you're all as invested as we are with our new family engagement council, I might add. That is really part of the guidance or the school counselor curriculum. Their own curriculum in terms of how many times, how frequently are they meeting with family members along that pathway, and bringing those family members in and offering translation and really taking the families of the students through the process of what it means to be a scholar, what to scholarship and how to access what is out there for them. So that's really less about the tool and more about I'm looking for the right word, like calendaring about when to bring folks in. So like they come in the fall when we're talking about getting ready for senior year and thinking about the scholarships that are coming up. There's a cycle. Yeah, I'm just missing the word, but there's a cycle.
I think there's another opportunity too, another school leader mentioned, is when students are putting in requests for courses for the coming year, incorporating this tool. So not only are you reacting to where you are right now and trying to fill in gaps, but you can also be anticipatory about what your coursework may be for the next year. And this is the ideal use of that, is to put everybody in that position of engagement, not being reactive to a situation. The timing, isn't ideal, as I said, but in that scenario where you could work with the student, you could work with the family, saying this is what you need for the next 2 years, the next year, and be able to show them that. I think it can be another powerful tool for that scheduling process.
My last question was just so is there an app, or how can you access? Like, what is that? Is it just on the portal? Like, is it through computer only?
It's through the Power School portal.
Okay.
And, that we have. So we there's some grading in there, although again our grading is distributed through email as well. So we may consider both methods, either within the portal and distributing via email at specific times during the year, as ways to do outreach from the reports that we can generate from it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Member Satterwhite.
Thank you for this visual. This is really great. I actually have a 12th grader in Lynn Public Schools, so I'll be experiencing this firsthand.
Great.
I do have 2 questions, though. My first question was, I'm thinking about the students that don't meet those requirements. Is there going to be, just kind of considering the features, is there going to be an alert that maybe the families would get if their student was falling behind and don't meet those requirements?
Right, and that's actually taking sort of a precedent right now in terms of the communication that the district is planning, is helping the students identify if they're not on track for graduation, and competency determination as well. So sort of those 10th grade competencies with either MCAS or 10th grade coursework, that if there are gaps there. School counselors have been engaging with families with that prior to that point as part of their work. Our hope is that this just dovetails in with that conversation. So my hope isn't too far afield from that. Is just now we're aligning across the schools along these consistent requirements, and not left to, okay, Susie or Jimmy, we need you to finish your coursework. This is sort of the consistent message coming through the district, so it's not piecemeal anymore.
And then just lastly, I'm just curious, who's ultimately the go-to person that's going to be responsible for inputting these, the graduation requirements, making sure that there's maybe an audit that it's compliant with the graduation policy?
So it's going to take a cross-section of team members, and that's what I found with this work. So one of the fun facts I've come across is that we have 21 different versions of English 11 in our system. So the English 11 course, which you might consider fairly, typical or regular, we have 11 different versions of that the system needs to go and find, which is a lot. So I need to lean very heavily on my partners in curriculum, my school counselors, to help inform that process and pull those together regularly. My hope is, knowing this tool is in place now, that helps guide the work going forward, so we're not independently just creating a course, over here, but we're making sure that course also, if it can, align to some requirements that we've got set up for graduation policy, or college and career readiness, that it is feeding into something larger and not just a standalone on its own as these students set up these pathways, to their post LPS careers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Gately.
So this is a work in progress.
So insofar as that, the hope is that when we have freshmen coming in, that we'll be able to give this to them as they enter their high school career. So this is, the plan is to eventually roll this out to future graduating classes. We have the work for the current 12th graders, aside from the operational pieces of rolling it out to to families and students. That piece is largely done.
Okay, because this is sort of like when a student walked into ninth grade, they would be handed a course sheet, and they would bring it home to their parents, and they would discuss, what am I going to take for my electives in my main courses. So this is like replacing this and putting it on a computer so they can see how they're doing, so they can see that to graduate you have to have 20 credits, and you have 15 out of the 20, and you're taking the 5 credits right now in your senior year, so when you finish that, you should have your English completion. Basically, that's what it's showing.
Yes.
Now, the other question I have is, correct me if I'm wrong, but in every high school, we do have bilingual guidance counselors, correct? So to answer Brian's question, Member Castellanos' question about how would parents understand and know what's going on, they would go through the bilingual guidance counselors to help?
I would think any family would reach out to their guidance
And that's
counselors.
who you would go to?
Yes. Yes.
So that the parents could understand everything that's going on and know that my son or daughter they just have to finish that English course and they're graduating, or they just have to finish a math course and they're graduating. And this, I think, is just going to assist them, going to help them. I think it's a tool that it's moving in the right direction, as long as we have the right communication in place for all parents and students to understand what they need.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Next item is a budget update.
All right, thank you. We're going to keep the, thank you. That's great. All right. Okay, good evening. As I mentioned at the beginning of the FY27 budget proposal process, I will be updating everyone at every stage of this process to ensure transparency and guarantee fiscal stewardship. So the objectives for tonight are to review our core values and priority areas as the primary drivers for decision making. I will share an update of where we are in the process now that we have the governor's budget, albeit her proposal still needs to go through the legislative body. We will discuss the approach for budgeting in a conservative climate, and remember, our FY27 budget process must ensure every dollar advances student achievement and reflects Lynn's shared values of inclusiveness, collaboration, and accountability. Again, I'm going to reiterate that this budget process takes time, especially during a leadership transition, and so rushing decisions could create instability. This process is intentionally paced so we can listen, analyze, and align. This is our third conversation about the FY27 budget, and that's intentional. The numbers have continued to evolve as the state process unfolded. Tonight, we now have the governor's proposal, which gives us more clarity and confirms the reality of the budget climate. The core values establish what and how we fund our priority areas. We will also consider stakeholder input, funding alignment, equitable allocation, and creative partnerships. At the center of our mission statement is providing equitable access for all students, particularly those marginalized. This means that schools will be provided the supports and the services their student populations require. This will look different building to building. The process is centered in collaboration, transparency, and alignment, and we are balancing what schools need, what the district can sustain, and what the city can reasonably support. This is this slide has been on every presentation just to remind us all that we are all part of the process of developing the budget. As you'll recall, Chapter 70 funding is tied to the October 1st enrollment. As you can see, Lynn has fluctuated. Even small enrollment changes can significantly impact state aid, which is why enrollment matters so much in our planning. According to the DESE's final enrollment number, we are facing a 435 student decline in enrollment. This enrollment number is the official calculation for the FY27 budget. In December, I illustrated the different potential scenarios, and so tonight we're going to focus on the fiscal reality. Last year's increase was historically large. This year's increase is much smaller. The contrast can feel like loss, even though funding did not go down. In fact, we were provided a $10.2 million increase. As you can see here, over the years, Lynn's budget has continued to increase. FY27 is no different. In the left-hand column, you see a system that moved up and stayed up, and that matters. Although the governor has released a budget with an increase this year, we have to remember that health insurance, custodians, maintenance, and other costs are included in the city's appropriation budget. They count towards net school spending, and they can also impact what we receive for the instructional side. So the challenge isn't that the funding stopped increasing, it's that the costs didn't stop increasing. So this is a moment for alignment. Our conservative budgeting strategy has positioned us for this reality. We are prepared to move forward with our priority areas approach. On this slide, you see the budgetary constraints that we face. We are still negotiating with smaller units, but LTU, LSAA, and the VP Association have all negotiated 3% annual cost of living increases. You can also see transportation costs continue to go up. Special education tuition costs are in the double-digit increases for public and private day school placements, and health insurance is continuing to climb nationally. These are real expenditures that must be met. So before we discuss our path forward, I want to remind everyone where we are in the process. All principals and directors presented conservative budget proposals in January. Today, we return to them in a budget workshop and ask them to scrutinize their proposals with an acute eye for potential savings. Mr. McHugh and I have held 2 open budget forums where we heard from stakeholders. This month and next month, I will visit LPAC and CPAC meetings to hear from those family and community members about how budget weighs on their minds. My superintendent's cabinet is actively curating all the ideas directly related to our priority areas. Our goal is to present to school committee our official budget proposal in mid-March. So here are more action steps in the process that we have already taken. To date, we have met with LTU and LSAA and have more meetings scheduled for next week. To ensure every dollar advances student achievement and reflects Lynn's shared values of inclusiveness and accountability, collaboration, we are scrutinizing every grant, external contract, and service to guarantee they work in alignment with our priority areas. We will be creating our FY titles proposal in lockstep with the foundation budget to ensure we are optimizing all opportunities to best service our students. Our budget must directly support our district's strategic plan, particularly strong instruction, student belonging, multilingual learning, inclusion, and attendance. If something doesn't advance those goals, we have to question the investment. The FY27 budget approach will hyper-focus on ensuring equitable access to rigorous instruction for all students by prioritizing core instruction, people and practices, family and community engagement. Our first priority is to strengthen the instructional core, specifically Tier 1 instruction anchored in culturally and linguistically responsive practices. To protect and strengthen this work, we are evaluating contracts and services and reviewing supplemental expenditures to ensure alignment and efficiency. This goal is to invest in what directly supports high-quality classroom instruction and to ensure coherence in the supports that teachers receive. Our second priority is people and practices. This is where thoughtful staffing decisions matter. We will use natural attrition wherever possible, balance staffing ratios to match enrollment trends and student needs, and reduce supplemental costs that sit outside of the instructional core roles. This helps us maintain stability while aligning resources to our highest impact practices. Our third is family and community engagement. We know our FCCs are critical connectors, and we want to elevate and coordinate their work. By aligning efforts across schools and securing grant funding, we can sustain this work even in a tight budget year and continue building strong, authentic partnerships with families and communities. These identified priorities create coherence in the system, and they ensure that every decision we make is anchored in our values. As we think where to focus our efforts, our work continues to center on 3 core levers for improvement that strengthen both school and district level systems. First is on-the-job learning. This means making professional learning job embedded and continuous, coaching, PLC-based learning, fewer disconnected initiatives. Our goal is coherence. The work teachers are asked to do should reinforce and accelerate the instructional core, not compete with it. Second is ensuring a strong core and targeted supports. This includes integrating SPED and ML supports into the core rather than running parallel systems. Through an MTSS framework, we ensure students have access to grade level rigor with the right level of scaffolding, differentiation, and progress monitoring. Third is focusing on attendance, belonging, and inclusion. This requires clear roles, aligned responsibilities, and coordinated district strategy. By leveraging the MTSS framework, we can provide differentiated supports that promote consistent attendance, stronger school connectedness, and inclusive practices for all students. Together, these levers guide our decision-making and ground our budget priorities in what will make the largest impact at scale. So our next steps. As we move into the next phase of this process, our work focuses on curating budget proposals that reflect the priorities and realities we've outlined today. We will continue to plan conservatively, ensuring that our financial decisions are sustainable and aligned to our instructional priorities. We will maintain a transparent process engaging principals, directors, union partners, and our community so that everyone understands the rationale behind each decision. Our next steps include refining proposals with a lens on fiscal responsibility, aligning grants with core needs, and preparing for the school committee's formal review cycle. We remain committed to shared accountability, ensuring that every dollar is directly supporting student learning. The disciplined and collaborative approach will allow us to navigate a challenging fiscal year while protecting what matters most for our students. Questions?
Member Smith.
Thank you very much. I have one question. Can you explain integrated SPED and ML supports differentiated from core materials?
Yeah.
Can you explain what that would look like?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question. When HQIM, the highly qualified materials, first rolled in right after the pandemic, they were robust. And one of the reasons they were listed as highly qualified is because they had special education or inclusive practices and certain strategies for ML students. And they were a huge plethora of materials, so many that teachers were initially sort of overwhelmed with them. What we're looking to do, and this is where the people portion of my priority comes in, rather than investing in additional supplemental materials that are tier 2 and tier 3, when we already have a plethora of materials that are in the core, we're going to lean into the experts who are our teachers in the district and our assistant directors to differentiate those core materials rather than fund or spend money on other materials, supplemental materials. So scaffolding is a way of providing certain learning structures to put those in place so that a multilingual learner can access standards grade level work with a little bit of support as opposed to learn something else.
Member Castellanos.
Thank you, Superintendent Cohen, for this explanation. And again, this presentation it's refreshing as we're going step by step. I know we're going to be moving in phases. I do have a request on the people and practices. If I could have an impact assessment for staff and plans, retention, kind of like when you're saying I identify supplemental expenditures or reviewing staff and ratios, all that would be very nice to have in advance.
Yep.
I want to be part of that conversation. As soon as it's hot, give it to me. That's respect for that. I say that in every respectful way. It's just very important to have that. Just because as we are seeing these fiscal, obviously, challenges, there's going to be tough conversations and situations that we're going to be put in. So, and I'm glad that we're including the union, we're including stakeholders, we're including folks at the table to understand what that's going to look like, and especially as you just described, the conservative lens that we're going to be operating with. So but in particular, just the people and the practices piece, if I would love to have that ahead of time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I presented this to one of the teacher cabinets that we have, and it was well received because the teachers feel very much respected. I think one teacher put it, we're bringing services in-house, right? So our own teachers, through teacher pipelines towards leadership, can help us develop those materials and differentiation and scaffolding.
Well, I appreciate it because you're going to cut costs instead of paying outside vendors or
That's right.
people to train us when we have the talented folks now, and it promotes so much morale and just growth. And all, it's nice to see us going through. We have a situation where it's challenging, but there's growth opportunities.
That's
so
right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
So.
Member Gately.
And so during this process, are you going to have some principal input on, let's put it this way, what is it that the principals want? What do principals feel they need in their building?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. We actually had our first workshop. So they presented their official proposals that they brought to us in January. Today, we put principals into workshop. They chose their thought partners to do that very thing. What is so challenging about a budget is we're looking at big numbers and a very large staff, and we're talking about people that you can't quantify in a number. And so when we talk about guidelines for ratios, for example, if you say it's 1 to 250, for example, that doesn't tell the whole story, right? And so a principal might have a really high need school, and they might say, they will have the autonomy to say, in a staffing crunch, I would need X given my staff, or given my needs or student population over Y. Do you see what I'm saying? So to Member Castellanos' point, we're looking at staffing in general, but then the principals are in constant conversation with us around, does that exact model work in that school? Because true differentiation and equity is not giving everybody the same thing. It's giving everybody what they need. What we're facing is that we don't have a lot to give. And so what we have to do is make very targeted, intentional decisions that move us towards better student outcomes. Because I don't want to forget, yes, we are in a fiscal challenge. Yes, we have a tight budget, but we also have a lot of resources, terrific staff, and wonderful students who need the scaffolds, the differentiation, to be able to perform. And so there are decisions that need to be made, but the principals know better than I.
Yes,
Right.
that's my point.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome, yeah, thank you
Yep.
for the presentation, thank you. Obviously, much more to come, but thank you everyone for your participation thus far. An important process. Next, we have a vote to set the public hearing date on the budget for April 9th, 2026.
So move.
There a second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Ortiz-McGrath?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. Next, I'll take an amendment to the agenda to move the executive session to the end.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, All City Art Show invitation?
Yeah, actually, can I take the liberty of the communication section for a moment?
Yep.
Because we have some highlights, but we might not. It looks like we might have a technical problem.
Okay.
So let's talk about the City Arts. Everybody has an invitation in their packet. And for our new members, you may not know how big the City Arts is. Everybody in this room has been to the city, I hope, has been to the City Arts. This is the first time, actually, that we are collaborating with St. Mary's students. So, may I, Mayor? Okay. So, we do this annually at the Lynn Museum, or the Lynn Arts, and it's all of our students from pre-K to 12th. So it is fabulous. All the family members come. But this year we have also invited St. Mary's to participate. So do not miss it. You will regret it. It's a terrific event. Ready? Okay. We'll do it. All right, let's do our February highlights.
Love it.
Okay, my deputies are going to take it away.
Yeah. So on screen, here are some Pickering students recently participated in the Playbook Initiative, a partnership between Project 351 and the Boston Celtics that empowers students to challenge racism, bias, discrimination while promoting diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Through this experience, students engaged in meaningful activities and conversations with peers from Linfield Middle School and had the opportunity to visit one another's schools. High school students led this. They were the leaders, providing outstanding support and leadership throughout this program. A powerful and positive experience for all involved, and special thank you to Principal Philbrook and everyone who helped make this opportunity possible for our students.
And now you're looking at students painting with a purpose at the Lynn Community Healthcare area at Pickering Middle School. Making this space a welcoming area for all that attend this space will feel the support embraced by their Pickering community. They feel so lucky to have the support of the Lynn Community Health Center, and they thank the students for making the space represents an opportunity to nurture, grow, and thrive.
The Tracy School monthly focus on love and kindness supports and strengthens our district strategic plan, particularly our core priority of advancing inclusion and belonging for all of our students. Thank you to Principal Nicosia and her staff for work in this priority area. Appropriate for the day before Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Feel the love. Yep. So we would like to highlight Miss Yvette Martinez, Director of the Welcoming Center. Ms. Martinez and her team attended numerous open houses to support families and share information about the pre-K and kindergarten registration. We appreciate Yvette's dedication and leadership in overseeing our Welcome Center. Thank you for your continued hard work and commitment to our families.
We'd also like to highlight Annie Feliz, our Manager of Family, Community, and Paraprofessional Support. She plays a vital role in strengthening our schools and district community. She's also a trusted support for many families, working in partnership with Latinos for Education to create meaningful opportunities for families in our district to positively support their child's education. and she continuously seeks impactful ways to uplift the community. And she's seen here above in these pictures, leading a safety care training and hosting a holiday breakfast for students. And then we have pictures from Breed Middle School. This is their small group learning teachers under the support of Mrs. Jody Gardella, the special education department head. Both pictured above hosted a family breakfast this week. Strengthening family partnerships remains at the core of their work. This event was widely successful, and families were so happy to engage with teachers, guidance counselors, paraprofessionals, clinicians, and school leaders to support their students.
Oh, and Mayor, would you like to introduce this one?
Yes.
Surprise.
The superintendent has launched a wonderful new podcast called Super Conversation, and I was honored to be the first guest this afternoon.
But I forgot to ask one question. Aisle or window?
Oh.
I do the aisle seat. So I can get out of there.
Good choice. So that is what we have for stay tuned. I mean, it was a very well produced by the Lynn Classical team. It was very well produced, and we will be spreading it worldwide. Tune in.
It was true, and I love the title, by the way.
All right, and then we have the executive order from, we discussed this a little bit in the podcast just this afternoon, actually. So, Mayor, would you like to speak on the city side?
Yes, thank you, Superintendent. We wanted to update the school committee as to the executive order that I issued last Thursday, an executive order to protect the security and safety of residents of the city of Lynn. There's something I signed on Thursday. We blasted out into the city email, and it's on the website. And it prohibits civil immigration enforcement on city property, which will include school property. And, you know, we have had some real frustrating and even outrageous moments here in the city of Lynn with respect to immigration enforcement, and that's happened here locally. We've also seen, particularly recently, what's happened around the country, and want to be prepared. And so following the governor's announcement of a similar executive order with respect to state property and joining several other municipalities in the Commonwealth, took this step, and we are going to be, it's effective already, and one of the orders is about providing signage at city property, so we will be coordinating with the relevant departments to do that. It really doesn't change the school policy that already exists that we adopted during the first Trump administration, something that I remember working on, particularly with member Carrasco at the time, and I think the superintendent is going to share that and how she has been implementing it.
Yep. So actually, I'm just going to take the opportunity to read some of the components of the JIAA resolution to affirm Lynn Public Schools as safe and welcoming sanctuaries for all students. This is a training that we do annually with our staff, but I think it's really important for the public to hear what our affirmations. So I'm not going to read them all, but I am going to read a few. So this is, whereas the mission of Lynn Public Schools is to maintain a multicultural school community dedicated to the realization of the full intellectual, physical, social, and emotional potential of its students. Whereas the United States Constitution prohibits states from denying students a public elementary or secondary education on account of their immigration status. Whereas the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin, among other factors, by public elementary and secondary schools, that is Title IV, and by recipients of federal financial assistance, Title VI. Whereas the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 1974, FERPA, and Massachusetts law generally prohibits school districts and their employees from disclosing information from a student's education record to a third party without the prior written consent of a parent, a legal guardian, or the student. Whereas LPS has custody of students during the school day and during hours of approved extracurricular activities, and it is the responsibility of LPS to protect each student's rights regarding interactions with law enforcement officials. And, you know, it's really, we take that very seriously, and we want our families to know that we take it very seriously. And also in your packet, there are procedures that we have firmly in place that secure the safety of all of our students. We are, in effect, sort of the substitute parents during the day that they are in our custody. And so, you know, we're in complete alignment in regards to how we will protect our students under our watch. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mayor Pena.
Mr. Mayor, can we have this sent to us in Spanish, translated into Spanish language?
Yeah, it is
So,
translated on Spanish. Yeah.
On the website it is?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So I could share it. Thank you.
But we can share links, yeah. Do you want to, Member Gailey's asked for the time and place of the city art exhibit?
Oh, is it not on here? Oh, March 26th? Yeah.
Did allow.
Oh, sorry, thank you. We don't want anybody to miss the Lynn Arts exhibit, and it is March 26th to March 28th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., and I will be looking for all of you to make sure that you are in attendance. Thank you.
25 Exchange Street.
Now it's complete.
Good work, good work.
Free
Good
odds.
work, thank you.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session
So moved.
to approve executive session minutes from the meeting held on January 29th, contract negotiations with non-union personnel, confidential secretaries, principals, and grant-funded positions. Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Ortiz McGrath?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite? Yes. Member Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. Motion to return to regular session.
So moved.
Still move.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
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 Yes. All right, we gotta approve 2 of those contracts that we just voted in regular session. Is there a motion to approve the contracts with the confidential secretaries, which would give them the standard district 3% cost of living that we've done this cycle?
Still move, sir.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Ortiz-Margath?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. And then the same for the standard 3% COLA for the cycle for the grant funded positions.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Ortiz-Margath?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. We're going to pass this around to sign. And seeing no further business, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good evening.
Just that one?